You learn to earn to return, because with challenge comes the change that you need.
It is also true that most people have a proclivity to wake up in a more worried state. It is also true that most people have a proclivity to wake up in a more worried state as well. And part of that is, I think it's the Theta State. When you're in Theta, you're in a state where you have the potential to be worrying more deeply than in other brain states. That's true, correct?
So here's the thing. There are 4 primary states, brainwave states, that we cycle through. Beta is when you're most awake and alert. We're in beta right now. Delta is the slowest state. Obviously, you're asleep. That's the sleeping state. Right below beta is a state called alpha. I would describe it as a relaxed state of awareness. This is where your conscious mind, metaphorically, is set aside and you're just absorbing information. This is a great state to learn in.
Yeah.
When we train people to learn languages faster, we put them into an alpha state. And you could do it through visualization, you could do it through deep breathing exercises, you could do it through Baroque classical music. There's certain classical music that put you in a relaxed state of awareness. An alpha state is actually, if you work with a great hypnotherapist, they'll get you to change your beliefs or your anxiety, test anxiety or public speaking anxiety by putting you in alpha state through visualization, deep breathing, right? Through soft nature music, whatever it is. They'll put you in alpha state and then they'll give you new things to say to yourself that you'll readily accept because your conscious mind is set aside, which is really the critic, the squelcher. Below that is the state of theta. Between alpha and delta is the state of theta. So this state, what you're talking about worry, absolutely, because this is the state of creativity.
Yes.
Right? You know what puts you into a theta state? Showers.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed when you're taking a shower, you come up with all these great ideas?
Yes.
It's always when you can't write something down, right? As we teach people how to memorize it.
Yes.
I actually took 6 showers this morning just to prepare for this interview, so I can be extremely creative, right? So awesome. The water washing over puts you into that really relaxed state where you become extremely creative. I was working with Will Smith, and again, I'm saying these names not to just name drop, but because they become memory reminders and triggers.
Sure.
Because if I just talk about Bill Smith, you'll forget the story. But if I say Will Smith, next time you see his movie, it'll trigger that. So we were in Toronto, and he was filming from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And I was like, how do you do this? Like 2 a.m. in the morning, you're just waiting. And then director says, okay, let's do it. How do you get prepared? How do you get ready? He was like, Jim, I don't have to get ready. I stay ready. Yeah. And I was like, wow, because you do the work. Yeah. I believe, Ed, like you, that ultimately the life you live are the lessons you teach. The O in max out stands for observation. A lot of people say, I have a horrible memory, and they blame their retention. It's not your retention, it's your attention. I got to, the story I tell is
come on, that was
the
great.
Second time I got to meet President Bill Clinton, and regardless of people's political ideology, everyone would agree he's got a lot of charisma. He's a great connector, a great communicator.
Absolutely.
What people don't know, he's got an incredible memory. Incredible memory. The first time I met him was very, very brief, but the second time he remembered my name, and I was like, okay. He was fed that by security. And then he remembered our last conversation. I was like, nobody was there. He definitely remembers this. And I was like, I'm the memory guy. How do you do this? What memory technique are you using? Because I believe genius leaves clues. And he tells me these stories about his grandfather in Arkansas in the living room, telling the grandkids all these stories, but he would do something different. Afterwards, he would quiz every single one of them to see if they're really paying attention. And I was like, wow, that's really, we went deep in that rabbit hole. And I would notice when he was explaining this to me, we're at a fundraiser, it's 2,000 people, and I was sitting right next to him at dinner. And it was like me, Forrest Whitaker, who won the Academy Award, Richard Branson, Ashton Kutcher, Ashton Kutcher's twin brother. I put this on Facebook.
I've seen that.
Crazy.
Pictures, yeah.
But I was like this, when he's talking to me, he's like, there's a lot more important people in that room, certainly at that table, but I feel like I'm the only one, Ed. And this is a quality that you have. I can feel this because I believe, you go to events, you were talking about remembering names, and they're looking over your shoulder.
Yes.
And who else is important in this room? And and everyone feels, especially women, they feel like when your attention goes somewhere else, they know it right away.
Yes.
Or if it's not being distracted outside, they're not paying attention.
Yes.
Because what are they doing? They're not listening. They're waiting for their turn to speak,
yes.
or they're thinking how they're going to respond.
Yes.
Right? Another habit of highly effective people: seek first to understand, then to be understood. Most people, they want to be understood, and they're thinking about how that, and they're not
so powerful.
And they're not interested. They're just trying to be interesting.
Oh my gosh. They're trying to be interesting. They're not interested. That's
Right.
powerful. Let's just slow that down a little bit. The people whose company I enjoy the most, who are some of the most influential people I've ever met, have that exact skill set that you just described. They're less interested in being interesting, and they are more interested in you. Right. That is 100,000% true.
And Ed, just an exclamation mark, like they're present with you. You know what I mean? Like you are. Since I walked through this door, you're there, and that's a trained skill.
Sure is.
Listen. If you write the word "listen" on your phone or just in your notes, and then scramble the letters, it spells another word perfectly. It spells the word "silent." And most people, they're not silent. They're talking to themselves and they're distracting. And if you're talking to yourself and listening to a new person talk, you can't listen to 2 conversations at once. You can't multitask. And by the way, just as a side note, there's a myth to multitasking. Everybody, I just have to address this.
Give it, I know.
Yeah, because, and you know this, the science is saying, everyone who thinks you're doing 2 cognitive activities, I'm not talking about riding a bike and chewing gum. I'm talking about 2 cognitive activities, you're not really doing it. It's called task switching. That when you go from one thing to another, you're making more mistakes, science has shown this, you're making more errors, and you're wasting time. It takes anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to regain your focus and your flow. What do? You hydrate because your brain's mostly water. Even a 2 or 3% decrease in water in your brain could reduce your reaction time, your thinking ability. When you're fully hydrated, it boosts like 30% reaction time, thinking, hydrate, and then breathe, deep breathing, right? Get those 6 deep breaths in. And actually, to create neurogenesis and neuroplasticity, to literally just get smarter, you need 2 things, novelty and nutrition. Just like if you want to build your body, you give it novelty, you work it out, and then you give it nutrition, you feed it, and then you rest. Because the rest is really important because that's where you consolidate short to long-term memory. So the O is observation, the U, I would go to use. And I'm doing this on the spot because I know these are the principles, but I would say, to remember a name, use the name in the conversation. Right? So somebody introduces themselves and you get it and you say it and you use it because you want to make sure you heard it right. You don't want to have a conversation with Ed and say goodbye, Ted. Right? Because some people, you're at a wedding, you're at an event, it's loud, you get distracted. Better to be corrected in the beginning. And then I'm not going to say, use it a million times. Ed, you have a beautiful home. Ed, what do you want to talk about? Ed, what do you want? That's abuse. But use it 3 or 4 times in the conversation. Now, in the context of non-remembering names, use it because anything you learn, if you want to learn it better, right? If you want to max out with your ability to apply, then you want to always think about how do I use this obsessively. When you're reading something, how can I use this? When you're listening to podcasts, how can I use this instantly, right? So even people listening to this could be thinking, okay, I have this event tonight or I have this event tomorrow. How am I going to use this, right? So you're going to use it. And then finally, the T in max out, I would say teach. You know, intent matters. Intent matters. And what I would suggest everybody do, and I would challenge everyone who's listening to do this, because with challenge comes the change that you need, right? I would challenge everybody who's listening, if you're really serious, to use this and not just be like, oh, that was an entertaining show. I would say, think about somebody you wish was listening to this right now. And let's say you had to teach them tomorrow or give a TED presentation on Monday about the things. If you were to learn with the intention of teaching, would you focus better? Would you take better notes? Would you ask better questions on social media, right? You would own that information. And so when you teach something, you get to learn it twice. When you teach something, you get to learn it twice. You know, when we grew up and we heard that phrase, those who can't do teach, you can't do business, so teach it in business school. You know, yes, there's a certain truth, but then also I always thought it wasn't a negative. I was like, wow, if I can't do it, teach it, and then I could do it. You know, I could get better at it because when you teach it, you own it, and it becomes you. You're not using their words, you're using your words, and it becomes, who you are.
About 20 years ago, I got into the space of teaching people, and so since that time, everything I've listened to related to these topics, everything I've read, every seminar I've attended was with the intention to teach it.
That's beautiful.
It's exactly what you just said. So I'm getting a double whammy every single time on all of these today. And having you here, I'm listening with the intent to teach these things. And
you because it becomes you, and then that's a double benefit, double whammy. Because why learn anything? Number one, so you could benefit from it, but why learn it also so people you care about can benefit it too. I always believe is you learn to earn to return.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like more, click the videos right here. They're exactly what you need to see next. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and become a part of the Max Out community. And tell me what you think about the videos in the comments below. I read all of them every week, and I select winners that get all kinds of prizes, gear, coaching calls with me. Make a comment.